Hi guys, welcome back to Crafty Quilting Designs. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are and everything is going really wonderful for you. So today's video is a very short one. It's a viewer's request, and that viewer wanted to find out how to make an envelope bag for a cushion. Now usually I do a lot of sample blocks before I make my quilt, and I'm actually working on my current quilt for this week's video tutorial, and this is called Summer Blossom. So this is my spare block, and so I wanted to show that viewer how to actually put this particular back on. But before I do that, just wanted to give you a few showing of some of the blocks that I tend to sample for quilts. And this is an applique block, and I use a 9-patch. And this one I've actually called it Twist and Turn, and you can see it's the same block that I've actually used to make a whole block. So you've got the individual blocks there, and again I've turned it into a cushion with that same envelope bag that we're referring to. Alright, so I will take you through how to do that. It's quite simple and very effective, and the reason why I like using it is because you can also change out of your cushion covers, wash them, and if you have a theme going in your rooms or wherever you are, then you can obviously wash them, change them, etc. It's a lot more easier to do that way. So let's get right into this video, and I'll see you shortly. Okay guys, so this is the block we're working with. Now what you can do is measure the block, but I don't usually do that. I will just take the fabric and put it front sides together and measure it. Okay, now I've roughly cut it, and you can see it's almost the size as the block itself. The only thing I tend to do is ensure that both edges meet together at the bottom there, and I smoothen it out. And remember, you're putting it front sides together. Alright, so front sides together. Okay, obviously this is a solid color and you can't see the front side. So you measure it down, you put it, and I tend to fold it. I'm folding it because I want to get rid of the raw edge up there, and I fold it nice and big because I want it to be nice and solid. Okay, ensuring that the edges meet. Don't worry about the size, you're going to trim that up once you finish. Once you've done that, you simply pin it in place so it doesn't move. What you could do also, is actually stitch it down. Alright, so you can run a straight stitch across there and a straight stitch across there as well, but I'm not going to bother with that because the reason why I fold it so thick as well, because it doesn't move. Alright, if you were to do a smaller seam such as that, then it will unravel, but because it's so thick, it stays in place. But it's entirely down to you if you want to do another stitch there. Then you take the other one, put it literally on top, and again line up both raw edges together. Now if you felt that you had too much fabric on this particular end, you could go beyond your block, and then obviously you trim it up once you've sewn it round. Okay, but for this example I'm just going to bring it down so it's edge to edge, and do the same thing, fold it and fold it again. Make sure both folds meet on top of each other, and once again I just simply pin it in place so it doesn't move. And you would do the same for all the edges, just spin them round, sorry, pin it all the way around. It's really down to you how confident you are and how much pins you put, but I just put a few in place so that it doesn't move, because it can. So just to alleviate the stress of having to unpick it, just put the pins. Putting pins don't mean that you are a novice at sewing, it just means that you hate unpicking stuff. That's the way I look at it, and it just eats away your time. Right, so I'll just add one more there. Okay, so do not stitch it from this view. Turn it around and stitch it all the way around, so that way you can actually see your block and you know where your edges actually end. And you do your normal either 1/4 inch seam if that's what you want to do, or if you know you've got excess fabric in terms of the size of the pillow, then you can use a 1/2 inch seam, but it's entirely down to you, and you would know once you've done 1 or 2 pillows. So that's it. So I'm going to stitch it around, and then I'm going to show you the end result, and then you'll see how easy it is. Once I have stitched this, I would just use my rotary cutter with my ruler, lay it down, and just trim it. I can do that now, it's no big deal, but I'd prefer to stitch it around first, and then I just trim it down, and I know it's all completed. All right, so let's go do that now over to the sewing machine, and then I'll show you the end result. Okay, so I have everything under the sewing machine. I'm just going to start as normal. Remember, I said this is not a 1/4 inch seam, I'm just stitching, to be honest. Right, I've just come across my pins, I'm just going to remove that. So whatever you do, don't sew over your pins, otherwise you will break your needles. Make sure everything nice and neat and tidy. And feel something. There we go. Right. Now when you get here, important to check that both of these folds are laying flat, okay? Because sometimes if you don't check, it can sew like that, and then you have to unpick it. So just make sure it's flat, and I can see that mine is, so I'll just continue. And I'm just keeping my pressing foot to the edge of my block, yeah? Remember, any extra we will just trim off. And obviously you would measure your cushion before you make your cushion cover, because then you would know what size. Notice I'm checking to make sure my fold is nice and flat. And you can hear the difference in the machine when it goes over the double folds there. Again, just pivot and continue. Alright, so let's cut this and see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to remove the pins now. This is one of the easiest way of doing a pillow. I prefer this rather than doing the zips, to be honest. Right, so all pins are removed. I've only just got these 2 that are left underneath there, and funny enough, I remembered today. Usually I forget, and I usually prick myself with it, so it's a good thing I remembered it. So I'm just making sure there's nothing. Alright, lovely. You need your ruler now, and I'm going to put it this way up so I can see my edges, okay? And you just line it up on your block edges, and you cut it off. Turn it. Now, but this is entirely down to you if you want to neaten that. To be honest, for me, that's not really an issue because I'm not going to be seeing that, so I wouldn't bother trim that. I'm really talking about trimming the excess fabric, so I'm going to trim this side as well. I'm just going to make sure I go back. I know my blade needs changing. Right, and that's it. So I'm going to turn it right side out. Notice that big fold there. Put your fingers in. Now one thing I would say is that if you think that you've got all of these here hanging out and it's a little bit thick, now you're more likely to get the bulk there if you have quilted the cushion, but I haven't in this particular case, so I'm not going to worry about that. But if you're fussed about it, all you need to do is take a scissors and snip the corners. Turn it right side out. Take your finger and stick those corners out. And that's it. All done. And you have your pillow cover for your pillow form. And I will put it in and show you what it looks like. So again, turn it on the back side. Stick your pillow in. So remember, you will measure your pillow so you know what size it comes as. Stick it in. Make sure you flatten or push the pillows out into the corners that you want it to be. And you see the purpose, again, as I said, there's no need to top stitch, but if you want to do a top stitch, you will do it when I say you should. But I don't bother with that. Absolutely beautiful, simple, easy, and yeah, so it looks absolutely beautiful. This is the new quilt block we're working with for this week's tutorial, and it's called Summer Blossom. It looks absolutely lovely. So I shall see you on the weekend. So have a good one and enjoy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, and I shall see you very soon. Enjoy it once again. Bye for now. Happy quilting.